So welcome everybody to the fifth and final day of this Art of Hot Monogamy happy hour series. Many of you have been joining us for all these evenings, and some of you have caught the replays, and I just want to thank you for carving out some of your time to even consider and come and practice in this idea of loving better. That this really is a possibility, that it's something that can be learned. It's made such a huge difference in my life, and it's been really fun and rewarding to share it with all of you so far, and so much more to come. So to begin with, I would just love to drop us in a little bit, and we're going to do something a little bit different tonight because there's so many different ways to drop in. So if you want to stand up for this, you can, or you can do it right here, but you're just going to shake. You're going to begin to shake out your hand. You can shake both at the same time. You can shake out your head. If you want to stand up, you can just do a little shimmy in your chair. You're just going to really get the energy, the oxygen, the breath moving and flowing. We play with this in different ways, and certainly part of coming alive is just in getting our physical body transitioned from whatever we were doing before. So take as long as you like. If that's feeling good, maybe you started sitting down and it would feel really good to stand up. Giving yourself that gift of having what you want. Why are we not better at that? Because we don't practice it. So tonight, inviting you to already be in the practice of honoring what feels good, what you desire. And then when you feel a little bit enlivened, you can come back to our call, our Zoom, your technology. And I will welcome my guest in just a moment. So tonight we are diving into, I think I've told you in these previous nights, I've sort of organized this education I've been on for like 15 years into 5 essential skills or blocks. Now there's many skills under each one, especially for the one tonight. It's a pretty big topic. So we'll just taste it tonight, but the skill, the attitude is devotion. And it's definitely what I have found to make the biggest difference in all of this. You know, there's a great Maya Angelou quote that I'm sure most of you have heard. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that speaks to this idea of being devoted, not in a pretzeling, pleasing someone way, but being devoted to being an energy that you can consciously choose to have a moment feel a certain way, to have a relationship feel a certain way. And tonight we're going to look at like some of what we have to set aside, some of what we have to dissolve or get over or cultivate in order to be that person that we want to be. And again, this is all choice. You know, I bring this to you as modern empowered women. So there's no doing anything that you don't want to do. And I'm offering the opportunity to inquire into a deeper level of want, because some of our wants are really grounded in our habits, our fears, our ego. So tonight we're going to look at this broader, more expansive kind of wanting. And you know, one of the things that really invited me into this journey early on is one of my early teachers posed the question to me: if your life is your art, if you are the artist of your life, what kind of art do you want to make? Sorry, I put her outside last time. Forgot to close the door. If she's a problem, I will go and might have to go close that door. Working from home, you know. And this idea, because I never really thought of myself as an artist, because I don't think I can't really paint that great and I can't draw that great and stuff. But love. Artist of love. Now that felt like a universe that might be available to me, and it's available to all of us. And so that's what we're going to be exploring tonight. And it may not be what brings us first to a path. You know, I started with fix me. Fix me, fix me, fix me, fix him, fix him. Can you just fix him? Fix the relationship. And it kind of moved with this opening of art, this idea of devotion, into like a surrender to something so much bigger than just me or just him or just relating. You know, I call this the art of hot monogamy, which honestly shrinks the domain of this, because the real world of this is so much bigger than two human beings in relationship. And yet in relationship as two human beings, we can experience the vastness, the divine, whatever that means to you, traveling the energetic realms, going deep, having an endless growth journey, whatever floats your boat in that sort of terminology sense, to know that that universe of exploration is available. And this last skill, devotion, I think is what takes it out of the domain of fixing and changing, of a goal orientation, and into a lifestyle, into a choice, into a mindset. So with that said, I'm going to bring on my guest tonight, Sandy Sembler. I'm going to bring her on spotlight with me. So Sandy is a fellow traveler on this path. She has been a student of mine at times. She and I have studied under many of the same teachers, and she also leads programs for women in particular who are, starting into this work. She is someone who has definitely wrestled with the demons of this path and still chooses it, and I think is just a beautiful, she's also an S Factor sister, dancer, friend for those of us that know each other through that dance world. Sandy, it's such a pleasure to have you here tonight. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
So just kind of to open, since we do have our topic of devotion tonight, I know that you've had quite a journey with this, and long before anything with me, David Data, any of the teachers in this kind of sacred sexuality relationship domain. Talk to us a little bit about what does devotion mean to you, and what has your journey with this been?
Wow. Well, first off, thank you for having me. It's so beautiful to see you in this space and to be on your platform. So the art of devotion in the space now is not what it was when I first was introduced to this work 7 or 8 years ago. To me, devotion was something that I only would have if I was talking about church, quite frankly, right? So this has been fascinating for me, and you have actually been a really big part of what, when I think about a relationship, I would think about you and Keith. So you made that kind of indelible mark for me. But how this worked, in regarding the masculine, feminine, and what that means from the essences, that's been everything for me. I had this intervention with Tony Robbins many moons ago, and that's when I was basically castrated of all the things. So that was the first introduction for me, and then bringing that into my everyday life. I think we can be devoted to our purpose as women. We can be devoted to our children. We can be devoted to, honestly, me showing up today for you was something where, for it to be sacred and me to actually really put thought and be intentional with it. I think devotion and intentionality go hand in hand, heart to heart. That's my view, at least.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Beautifully said. Yeah, it's a journey of the heart for sure. I mean, and some of the practices we've done this week have taken us different places in our heart. I mean, it's just so, I love how vulnerably and truthfully you share your story, and more of it will come out as we're talking. Yeah, just one of the things about this path is just the recognition that even when we fall down, or even when we don't maybe succeed the way we want to, that's all just part of the journey, and how it is this calling, this surrendering to something that keeps pulling us, forward so that we can have more of what we want. This idea of a turned on long-term partnership, just taking it so out of the domain of tips and tricks. And there are tips and tricks that we both learned along the way.
Yes.
But, to allow it to be this actual spiritual journey, this journey with self, like really the richness of that. How would you say studying, the skills of sacred relating, the hot monogamy that you now have created in the time that we've known each other, actually, how is this path of study made a difference in your life and in your how you have relationship now?
Well, number one, as you mentioned, I mean, this is not the way I was raised. I mean, there's not great patterns in our family. Both my parents were married at least 3 times. I mean, my mom's been married 25 or so years now. My father has passed away, but his last marriage was 10. I mean, he was married to my stepmom twice. So, to me, there was nothing modeled. And so as much as I would say I didn't want to have that relationship, let's face it, everything's patterning. And so for me, I really was a student to, I wanted to do something different. And I was devoted to being a mother who would actually be a role model to my son at the time when he was still at home. So this work has actually been of such where to give me permission to be the hot mess and to actually be open and to actually sometimes not be happy and to allow me to feel two opposing emotions of, I like to say, I did all this work so I could, change my vibration, soften, learn how to surrender, be devoted to a committed relationship. And then I am in one, and my partner really well, and he's an amazing soul. And then there's still a part of me that's like, oh my gosh, I'm in this relationship. Like I love him and I'm not. So to be devoted actually truly to the fact that I can have two opposing emotions and not make it wrong. That is art. I mean, that gives me goosebumps. That's art in itself. And that has been my personal journey, even as recent as probably about 45 minutes ago.
That's the thing. I think when we're single, and I definitely work with a lot of single women, they think that like once you're in relationship, it's done. But all of us who are in long-term partnerships know it's a different form of not done. Like it's never done. It's just never done. Certain things are done. I mean, you don't have to date anymore. But this real work of taking on your patterns, if you want to be happy over time, I mean, yes, it helps to pick a high quality partner who wants to grow and who's been around the block a few times. But this practice of constantly forgiving, for me, some of the dimensions of devotion, how it lands in my life, like one of the muscles of devotion I had to learn and build was to see the positive. I didn't even realize that I'm a consultant, I'm a successful business person, like I'm paid a lot of money to fix things, to notice what needs improvement. How could it be even better? What's the next level? What's the next generation of this? And, men actually don't want that being applied to them, and they're not that interested in it being applied to your relationship either, when it's done in that way, when it's done using the way that we do it in the world.
Well, I mean, that's such a masculine way to look at things, right? I mean, you were successful. That's the masculine essence, right? To actually, that's the go versus the flow.
Yep.
And you have to be able to have them both. And to be devoted to that practice, is key. And it's interesting, right? To be devoted to it no matter what. And I'm not just talking about because you're in a vow and you're in it for no matter what. That's the same but different, right? I mean, like devoted at all cost. And what I love about what you and I've learned in this realm with the teachers that we've worked with is that there is art to being pissed off if they don't take out the garbage, or now let's face it, there's a lot of women who actually are making more money than their partner, and how can you still have polarity in that? And I think that is, for me, I see so many women that come and work with me, they're very highly successful, but they're walking more in a masculine shell. And so to be able to give them permission that you can be a champion for women's rights and actually be a feminist, but you still can really be devoted and enchanted and love men. And so it's an interesting path that I've experienced in my own journey. And to your point, a lot of people think that you have the relationship and that it's done. And our teacher, said to me, oh, honey, it's about to get better because the world needs more of your hot mess. You're in the stable relationship. He can handle it. And I didn't even understand what in the heck that meant. I had practiced it with practice partners, but then I'm in it. And he, my husband, is exactly what I wanted as a child growing up. The patterning is we're always craving that. And that if we haven't healed those patterns, we're going to try to recreate the trauma, whether it's trauma with a capital T or a little t. And so for me, I had healed those things. And so my body, when I started dating again, I mean, we're tuning forks, right, Allie? So I got in front of him and it was like being in front of a practice partner, and he had never done any of this work. Like he didn't know any of this stuff. And so that's the other misnomers, and I'm sure you hear it too, is that you have to be with a man who's practiced. No, you have to determine what it is that you're devoted to. What do you want in the world? What can you play with? What is, I'd rather be alone than be with a man who isn't or who is, and be aligned to your purpose in partnership. Because the best spiritual practice is to be in a monogamous relationship where you know you're going to trigger each other. Like, you know, it's going to happen, but be devoted to, you know, the work. I mean, for me, when I was manifesting this beautiful soul that drives me crazy sometimes, as recent as now 50 minutes ago, right? But I'm so devoted to him and I love him because I see the good. I choose to see the good. And he's beautiful. This is all about me. It has nothing to do with him, quite frankly, as you know. But that, you know, to be in that relationship where we know we'll trigger each other and that yet we're still going to show up for more, and show up with love. And I think for me, it was like, I think I know the mantra was, you know, I'm in a committed marital relationship, passionate relationship with my warrior king, who's growth oriented for himself, for others, and our relationship. Because I, you know, and that's what I got. So we have to know what it is that we are actually fighting for. And I think fighting for, also, you and I talked about that when I was visiting you, is fighting for love, like fighting for intimacy, fighting for, like what you're doing here is bringing the hotness into it and actually making something really splendid out of it. I think it's beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Sandy. Yeah. So much in what you just said. So, you know, you and I are so steeped in these concepts. So, to kind of distill a few things down for people who are listening, like the journey of this, because we've both been at this for a few minutes, this mindset, this philosophy. So, I mentioned that, like, I tended to notice what could be improved. And so I would say I kind of came at this in two ways, and the education does in a way. So, one is you can sort of figure that you can gain awareness of something and you can sort of start trying to do the opposite. So you can start trying to notice what's good. And, you know, if you tend to be critical, you can try and hold back on that and maybe bring in more praise. And if you tend to be suppressed, if you tend to overly please and then you build up resentment, you can find your voice and you can work on finding your voice. Those are all healthy things to do. And I did work on plenty of that stuff. Not so much finding my voice, because I've never really had trouble with that, but the other side. Most women fall into one side or the other.
Oh,
But what the deeper journey reveals is how often what's really talking us is our unconscious need for safety, our
yeah.
unconscious need to be seen and to be loved. And it's either showing up by not saying what we really want, or it's showing up by over managing, criticizing, because we need it to be a certain way so we feel like we're okay. So I would say one of the first pillars to me of surrendering to this devotional mindset is that instead of safety, we prioritize love, we prioritize growth, we prioritize energy, we prioritize the moment. This recognition, and it doesn't mean we throw ourselves into unsafe environments. For me, like noticing what was under it, those patterns you spoke to, Sandy, was so essential, because once I surfaced that to my conscious awareness, I had so much more fluidity with my art, because I knew I actually was safe. I'm with an amazing man. He was not going to leave. He's not going to hurt me. So that's one big piece. The moment, prioritizing the moment, the relationship over my clench
Yes.
of what I need. And then a second piece that I heard, and kind of what you were saying, it's certainly been a big piece of my journey as well, and of this whole path, is cultivating generosity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the rest of you, but most of us are pretty self-motivated, meaning even if you're a big giver, there's kind of a part of you that you're satisfying through all of that giving. And so this generosity is literally, and you have to do this over and over, because you do it and then you forget, and you do it and you forget, like Sandy mentioned 15 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. Can you give up being right, defending, protecting? So when I say all these various things, notice what's good, add more praise, you know, stop defending, give up being right. So not doing things, or even training yourself, again, those things are all valuable to bring into your conscious awareness. But the beautiful thing about devotion is that it's what makes it enjoyable. It actually calls it forward. So instead of it feeling like work, I feel proud of myself. The wife, I remember once Keith and I were on vacation and we met this other couple where we were, and the guy introduced himself, and however I forget his exact words, but the way he basically introduced his wife is he said, "This is the woman I have the privilege of being in relationship with." And at the time, I was like, huh, I don't think my husband wants to divorce me, but I don't think he would introduce me that way. And now, I mean, he might not use those words, but I know
Yeah.
what an honor it is to be in relationship with someone who does this work. It is night and day to be in relationship with someone who owns their stuff and who is committed to generosity, to devotion, to seeing the greatness in the other person. And that's just kind of the third thing I'll mention. Seeing, and that doesn't mean a fake Pollyanna, oh, pandering to his ego.
Yeah.
There's plenty of self-help books out there. If you want to learn how to pander to a man's ego, there are books on tape. There are a million coaches out there. This is actually honoring the divinity in another person.
And
That
I
you
want
have
to,
chosen them,
yeah,
so
I want
that
to
you
say
have
this.
chosen them and honoring the part of them that you chose them,
Yeah.
even if in that moment they are not rising. And so it's not about suppressing what doesn't work, but it is about when you speak to that. Devotion helps us learn to bring, like Sandy said, sometimes bringing our anger, our fierceness,
Yeah.
our broken heart when they disappoint us. And maybe it's just because they forgot to take the recycling out and the bin is full and all those Amazon boxes. But if your heart is broken, it is broken. And if you give that to him, or her, or whoever your partner is, from a place of, and I know you're better than that, without a make wrong. It's hard on Zoom, maybe you can't feel me, but there's an art of giving. You broke my heart, and in a way that's like, and that hurts because I know you can do better than that. I know you don't want to break my heart. It's so different than, are you kidding me? Or really? It's so different. So we're going to actually practice something a little bit on that. So you'll get a chance to try a little bit of it in your body, to take your habitual complaint and add a little devotion to it. But Sandy, you were going to say something.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the subtle of the devotion, right? I mean, I remember many years ago I was with some high school friends, and we were all married, and my friend was this very famous supermodel, honestly, and she gave it all up to get married, and she has four kids, and they were very little, and we were sitting on the beach, and we're all talking and doing the thing, and she said, I am really happy knowing that my husband likes this certain kind of toilet paper. It was like, and I was like, I remember judging it, going, wow, I mean, really? And then, but what she was talking about is the art of the subtlety without even knowing our language. And then I see that now, training my mind that whenever, I don't know, something, and for example, one of my teachers was talking about folding her husband's socks, instead of like getting pissed that he didn't turn them inside out or whatever. She's like, instead of, she's trains her mind to go, every time he does that, it's just one more opportunity for me to love him and be devoted to him.
Yeah.
And so that's just like so simple, right? And it's so, because we're always trying to go this higher level to try to grab something, but what are we doing in the moment? Are you being devoted to, if he likes this water versus this water, are you purchasing that? And there's so much there, and because how we do anything is how we do everything. And so what you're speaking to is so key. And then there really are stepping stones to even get to that point of, because there's love tanks, right? We've all heard that and all of the love, marriage, what have you. There's love tanks. And so it matters because men actually do pay attention. The masculine pays attention to the little things because they all add up to, are we respecting them? Because they would rather us respect them than anything else. Yeah. So I love what you're bringing here and talking about the fact that we can bring our pain with fewer words, which is, I know, what you're covering in your course. So, and all the things. So, yeah.
And what you just said, I mean, I just want to include because all of that, like that, it's not so that he will feel respected and honored when you bring this, but that's not why you do it.
Right.
So if that doesn't float your boat, don't fold his socks. For me, I mean, this is going to sound corny. Well, whatever, I'm just going to say it. When I come, Sandy knows, when I come from this place, I literally feel like I'm an angel. And it could simply be not complaining about something that I would normally complain about. So you do not need to become his handmaiden. I am not taking anyone back to the 1950s.
No.
It is your, it is the part of you that is an angel.
Yeah.
And how does she want to move through your space? And how does she want to say hello? How does she want to dress? I mean, 10 years ago, if I had done this, I would never have set this space up this way. First of all, I wouldn't have this temple studio space that my husband helped create for me, but an awareness that went, not because, I mean, yes, it looks nice for other people, but to really, we're so under resourced in actually feeling into what we want. And I know some of the women on this call have invested more in practices to bring out some of that, and we could all still do more. So it's really what has you,
Mm.
what is the art you want to make? You know, maybe it's folding his socks, or maybe it is just not interrupting him when he's watching football, or
Right.
not bringing something sweetly instead of as a complaint, or maybe it's just not suppressing, telling him it's fine when
Yeah.
really inside you're closed. You're so closed. Like, your closure is the opposite of being an angel. Your openness, even if you're mad, even if you're heartbroken, is more artistic
Mhm.
than a closure. So yeah, it looked like you wanted to jump in there on
Yeah, I
something.
was gonna say I can remember, I mean, just touching their back, like you just mentioned. We work together now in the same space. I mean, many of us are in the same space as our partners, but it's definitely the masculine pole when we work together. But just touching his back is the equivalent of darning his socks or what have you. That Pam, my teacher, was telling me. It's just the art of, like, instead of making it mundane, you're pissed off about it. It's like, I get to do this. I get to love him in the midst of our argument. I get to do this with him. I mean, he's the one that chose me and I chose him. And that is a gift, because we're not talking about that this is an arranged relationship. We are choosing to be here. So what are we going to do with it? So yeah,
Totally. Love
yeah.
all of that. All right. Well, we've been talking around devotion a lot. I want to take you all into a brief kind of practice to kind of try it on inside yourself and see how this energy might show up. So, if you are in a situation where you can talk out loud, that would be helpful. But if you can't, you can just imagine the energy. So, it's kind of a fun practice, somewhat eye opening. So, the first piece of the practice is, you're going to bring something to mind with your current partner. It could be with an ex. It could even be with like a boss or something. Someone who plays that kind of masculine role in your life, because you're going to play the feminine energy for this part, and we all go back and forth, but in this moment. So you're going to bring into your mind and into your body energetically a complaint, something that you are a no to, a big no. Like, not that restaurant, or not that outfit, or not that assignment you just gave me, whatever it is. You're going to bring, maybe your husband or your partner, always, leaves their clothes on the floor, or it's something that kind of gets to you, because you could have a massive breakthrough tonight. This could change your life right now, finding something new. So I invite you to really pick something that you actually have some skin in the game on. And if not, then you can have this recording and you can repeat later with something if you come up with something better later. So Sandy, I want you to do this too, because I know you had this like right even before the call. So you're going to go into this and you're going to let your body energetically kind of go into that no. Maybe you even say it. Maybe you get really like icy bossy and you're closed. Maybe you kind of are like, no, what am I going to do? No. So letting yourself, and say it out loud. If you can say it out loud. If you can't say it loudly, at least whisper it, like no, or how you would say, like, fuck no, no way, no, what? However your habitual complaint no. I want you to take a moment and really find that. Feel how it feels in your body. Does it close? Do your shoulders get tight? Does your chest get tight? Does your chin lift? You probably have a pretty common position you take when you are a no. Maybe you shrink inside and you're numb, you're frozen on the outside, but inside something really contracts. And then when you feel like you found that, adding some sound if you can. No, you're all on mute. No one's going to hear you. If there's someone around, you can just whisper it. Get the energy out there of that. Really let yourself try this on. And we only need to be here for another moment, because I know it doesn't feel good. Yeah, and Sandy's doing a great job going into it. Yeah, I can really feel you bringing that no. And now I want you to let that no go and drop into your heart. First, just with your breath, with your feeling, emotional body, you're going to drop into your heart. And you're going to feel the texture, maybe of what's under the no. A desire, a disappointment, maybe there's some grief or sadness. You don't need to give it any label. You're just going to feel the texture of something deeper, what you long for, to be able to speak your truth, to be able to say no instead of saying yes when you really want to say no. Breathing into your heart, feeling the root of your heart, 360 degrees of your heart. Feel the being of love that you are, what you're committed to, what you're devoted to. Maybe if this was a work thing, you really are devoted to doing a good job, and this was really at the edge, or you're committed to this man or this person, this partner who maybe has posed something that breaks your heart. What's under all of that? Find your commitment, the bigger commitment, the love that you are at the center of your being. Breathe that into your heart. Let that flow through your body. Let your shoulders soften. Let yourself become that deeper feeling. Maybe you found something. Trust that it's there, even if it's very faint. And then I want you, without losing the heart connection, to bring back the no. And this time, you're going to add to no and a heart connection. You're going to add the texture, and I love you. No, you're killing me, and I love you. I can't go on like this because I love you so much. You're going to let yourself have your no, own your no. As you, yes, emotion may come up. Owning the no from this place of love, because your no often has a kind of wisdom to it that actually serves. We just don't offer it in a way that opens that, brings that to the moment. But when you bring a no with this deeper feeling, can you feel a little more freedom, a little more power to give a no that might otherwise, habitually, it closes the moment. It either closes you because you suppress it, or it closes the moment because you just bring the anger. But when you bring the two together, it opens the moment. It deepens the moment. And it makes anything possible from there. Maybe the thing never changes, but love can still be present. This is such a foundation for this hot monogamy, this long-term committed juicy love. This is how we stop building up resentment and rediscover love for ourselves and for anyone who happens to be in our sphere. So just taking a moment to breathe that in, whatever you noticed, whatever you felt. And before we come back together, I want you to put your hands on your heart or your belly, somewhere in your body, and make a vow to yourself to try a no with I love you, with a partner, maybe with I respect you if it's a boss or something. But you can even love in a platonic sense with a boss. I will bring my no. I will try. I will open to the possibility of bringing my no with some of this love that I am. Not even love for them. This comes from the love that you are. And then taking a breath into your hands. That was a little bit deeper practice, letting yourself just ground into your chair. You can let your hands drop if they're still on your body. Maybe don't shake it off completely, because that was a pretty yummy, deep experience probably for you. Maybe new for some of you. If anyone wants to share anything of what they experienced in that, I would be happy to either bring you on with us, or you can pop in the chat. You could type something you felt, something you noticed. How did it feel to make that promise to yourself? Sandy, how was that for you? I know you came on kind of with a crunch right before.
Yeah. No, that was really yummy. And I appreciate the guidance because I could feel myself clenching even when you was telling us to soften. So that was super.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Jesse
Yeah.
says it feels much safer to say
Yeah.
no this way. Yeah, because, we often don't say no because we think we're punishing them or taking our love away with our no. But I'll let you in on something, which we go in much more deeply. But um, your closure is the punishment. Your no is not the punishment. Your closure is the punishment. And so, what we work on in this path is remaining open when we want to close.
Yeah.
That's the muscle we build, and we do it in safety with other women, with a safe container, because it feels scary. I mean, we kind of feel like we closed for what was a good reason when we were a kid. We thought we needed to. It was our protection. And now it's a habit. And so, as we've talked about in these 5 nights, yeah, we unwind some of these habits, and we do it so gently, so compassionately, because we all have years and years of habits of doing this. And it becomes unconscious, and we don't even know that we are doing it. So, yes, yes to these shares. Saying no with the pain while staying connected to love feels good.
Mm.
Yes, Molly. This is the devotional path. It feels good to us. You know what? It feels freaking great to them too. But we're not doing it for them. We're doing it because it just feels better. As a feminine being, it feels better to stay open to love and to give the truth of our heart, the truth of our emotion. And yes, one more comment. Realize what a trigger it could be in a positive way. Interesting. Great. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a deep path. Wow, that was really cool. Thank you for going on that ride with me. I know for some of you, this may be the first time you're even like entertaining some of these concepts. We went a little deeper into that tonight. There's so many different avenues for coming into the curation, the inhabiting, the revealing of our devotional heart. So I know many of you, I've been getting amazing texts and messages from people who've been joining for these 5 days, have been really touched and opened, and some people are trying some of these things at home, and sometimes it's going great and sometimes it's going terrible, and they're like, what do I do now? So I want to offer you the opportunity. I'm going to share my screen here, if I can figure out how to do that. When I go into these deep practices, you go a little bit into la la land. Yeah, so I am going to introduce you all to an opportunity for those who are interested in walking this path. If you really are ready to consider having this be a path that is for you, I am inviting 12 women into a 5-month private immersion with me, a private mentorship. We are going to, and it's called the Art of Hot Monogamy, so this was kind of like a little taste. We're going to go into those 5 skills for 5 months in depth. And you can look at some of these details, but essentially all of these things we've been talking about, you can have these things. You can have the passionate, satisfying relationship you want. You can be lit up year after year. I was not in this place in the beginning, and even with my husband, who now all my guests share about how amazing he is. We were, I wouldn't say on the verge of breaking up, but we were definitely in a hard spot. And when we found this path, and I was so amazed when I found that there's a skill set, there's a roadmap to how you can cultivate this. So I want to invite you to invest, if you're interested, in a conversation with me. And this really is the most valuable education I have ever had. And I have a lot of degrees and other things I've spent a lot of money on. I just really stand that a lifelong, lit up, turned on relationship, everything we've been practicing this week, igniting pleasure in your body, even when you're tired, even if you have a big job and you have kids, shifting these habits, these patterns, these behaviors, sparking chemistry whenever you want it, expanding your sexual potential. There is such a realm beyond what 99% of us ever discover, the pleasure you can feel in your body that you can share with another person, and really bringing out the best in both of you. So if you want to be on this path of extraordinary relating, I would love to talk about that with you. As I mentioned, this is limited to 12 women. We're going to go deep. I'm going to be really careful about curating who's a fit, and I would love to help you have what you want in your life. So these 5 skills we've been going through this week, we're going to go through all of them in depth. You're really going to become an artist of these 5 areas. And there's so much underlying each one. We have barely tasted what there is of all of this. So this is kind of what we're going to be going through for those 5 months. Week by week, we're going to be having Zoom calls. We're actually kicking it off with a juicy in-person immersion in the wine country. We have a beautiful estate in Healdsburg. We're going to be having embodied practice, lots of partner work, how much we're all ready to get back together in person. So there's lots more details. I'm here if you want, and what I really would like to invite you, if this is for you, whether you choose to undergo this journey with me or not, I'd love to get on a call with you and explore what you want for your life, what you want for your relationship. I have worked with so many teachers out there. If I'm not the right fit, I can definitely connect you with some resources who are. It is really, really, really within grasp for everyone to be an artist of love, to have a relationship that delights you, that lights you up, that gets better and better over time. Taking the step to actually have a call about this, to actually voice out loud that this is something that you want. I'm going to stop this share and bring us back. To take the step and actually honor for yourself that this is something that you really want, that in and of itself could be life-changing. Maybe we just have a call and you never do another thing. But standing for what you desire, standing for this possibility of loving beyond yourself, getting the tools to drop the history, to break and dissolve the patterns, to love better and deeper, to know yourself as this angel, this oracle of relationship that is your birthright. I would love to help you explore that path. Again, whether it's, my course is actually already half full, so I don't even have very many spots left. So whether it's with me, I know so many teachers in this space, but I would really encourage you to book a call with me. I will put the URL for this in the follow-up email that goes out after this. And I would love to ask if there are any questions. Does anybody have any questions about the practice that we did, or specifically about how you could go deeper? Again, whether that's this immersion or something else. Questions on how to have this in your life. Or shares. Do you want this in your life? Who wants this? Does anybody want this in their life? Maybe you're all still here. Molly's a hell yes. Nikki's a hell yes. Nikki's been here every night. Several of you have been here. Dee's been here every night. I know Dee wants this. Kirsten's been here, I think, almost every night, if not every night. Ladies, you can have it. I'm just a little further, down the path. This is something that can be studied, and there's all different levels. So I would love to have some of you potentially in this immersion together. I will also just say, if we don't be afraid of a call with me, I am the opposite of a high sell. I want you to have what you want. And I only want women in this program that it's really a fit for, because I'm going to go in deep. I want people who want to go in deep, who want to transform in these ways. And, I might not be the right teacher for you, but maybe I can help you. So I promise there's no heavy sell. By the time your call comes, this program might even be sold out. So, but I really, really, really encourage you to honor yourself, to honor what you desire. Even if you just want to ask me for some books you can read. If you just want to bring a question, I was shy, but when we did this practice on Tuesday night, or we did this practice on Saturday night, here's what happened. How can I help you? I created this to give this away. Sandy and I are both committed. The teachers I teach with are committed to people having this. So I'm going to stop talking. I would love to hear, is there anyone on here who has worked with me, who wants to say anything about what that is like, or what you got from it, or what you would want?
I'll say something.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Andy.
So I'm actually considering, as you know, and I was sort of on a no coach diet. So I was like, but I love working with you, and it is nice to be held. So anyone that actually is used to leading and to be held by someone who actually has a proven track record, I think that's another reason why to work with Allie. I teach a lot of this work as well, and I would tell you that I love being held by someone who really is accountable, congruent. One of the reasons why I'm considering doing this is because it's a small space. I know where you've come from, and I know the relationship that you're in. And I love the fact that you keep it fun and there's flair, but there's also depth to that. So I'm considering to take the seventh spot, possibly. But I have to like feel into that. But that was something coming into this. So I just want to say that's another reason why I'm considering working with you. And I teach this work. So, not just in the hot monogamy space, but just in the space with working with women. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. That's one reason why. And I've been in practice with you in larger events, and you
Mhm,
always make it seem like we're the only people there when
mhm.
we're in that practice. Because I think we've had 200 people in some instances where you've been working with us. So I wanted to share that.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Mhm.
Yeah, for some of you, this may be, and then I'll bring you on, Molly. This may be the first time you consider making a big investment in yourself, and the universe is available. I promise, you won't regret it. It will be probably one of the best investments you ever make. Again, whether it's me or whatever teachers you choose. And the second thing I'll say is some of you have done a lot of work. And I also promise you, at least anyone who's interested with my program, it's going to be sexy, it's going to be luxurious, it's going to be fun, it's going to be safe, and it's going to be really juicy sisterhood community. I mean, the group, one of the people who's in my last group just posted her feedback in the chat. She can't talk live, but she's here. She was in my last two groups, and these women, even though the program is over, they're still gathering. Like they're still talking to each other and gathering. It's a sisterhood to be with each other through the ups and downs because relationship, we never master it. We do get more skillful, we get more artful, but it's never completely done. So, yes, Molly.
Hi, everybody. So great to be here tonight. Thank you,
Oops,
Sandy.
sorry.
So wonderful to hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your box popped around. I went to bring you on the spotlight and then you moved. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
I'm going to bring you up so everybody can see you.
No worries. Um, so I know Allie as a teacher and as a sister and fellow seeker in a lot of the work that she and I have done together in body movement. Um, and I can speak highly to just you as a teacher in that way, which has been such a gift, especially with COVID in 2020, and still being able to connect, in the body with through Zoom and what we were handed um, with lockdown. But I also have a question, so I
Yeah,
just want. I know you said you'd put the link in, so I don't know how much detail you want to get into, but
sure.
curious about the retreat, and then also, so I'm guessing it's weekly or monthly Zoom calls. Like, just wonder if you can fill in a little bit about the details.
Yes, absolutely. I will go back to I will show you the details, and I can also speak to it. So this is the schedule. We will meet weekly. I mean, the week when we have a retreat, I'm not exactly sure the schedule, but we will meet on Thursday mornings. We will have two-hour Zoom calls that are kind of deep immersion into the theme of the month. So I kind of went through those 5 skills. Each month is going to have a focus. We'll touch many of them multiple times, but essentially those 5 skills will ground our 5 months with these weekly calls. So every other week is that, and then the weeks in between are, I call them office hours. I'm a semi-retired CEO, so I still use that term. Basically, live coaching, Q&A, exactly the opportunity for you, because you're going to be taking this out into your life. You're going to be bringing it home. You're going to be bringing it on dates. You're going to be bringing it to the grocery store. In fact, I'm really excited at our retreat on Saturday. It's not on a weekend. It's during the week. Whatever the weeknight is. One of the nights we're going to go have dinner in this gorgeous outdoor garden restaurant in Healdsburg, and we're going to gift the space with our energy in subtle ways, in magical ways. It is so fun. Teachers have had me do this all over the world, and it was so terrifying at first. And you get to be in the magic that you are when you're just in your heart. You're safe, you're with a group of women. So we will have most of this on Zoom. We will have that in-person piece. So every other week will be kind of deeper teachings, embodied practice, because much of this happens in the body. And then the weeks in between will be kind of Q&A office hours type of calls so that you can get support. All the practices will be recorded, and you will also have a portal. I'm going to stop this share so I can look at you again. With the embodied practices, with the, I don't call them lectures exactly because they're not really like that, with the teachings, and with all the Q&As. So you can go back and you repeat those as homework. And I'm also offering the opportunity for custom homework. So home play, we like to call it home play. Some of it might feel like work though, because some of it feels a little challenging, but it always works out in the end. So part of why I'm limiting this to 12 is that you could really bring your unique situation. So I have women who are single, I have women who are in couples, I have women who are recently divorced, I have women who are in actually polyamory. Ironically, this word monogamy, which I might end up changing, because truly what I would promise you, this serves hot monogamy a million times over. And it is through a path of devotion that happens. We're also going to journey into some really more sexual sophistication. And that will be at the level of group sharing that is comfortable for you. So we're not going to go into like deep sexual practice together in the room. Unless all 12 women want to, then maybe we will. But I don't think we will. But we lack an environment and a peer group to talk about sex, especially as we get older, especially as we are post-children, maybe post-menopause. There is such a rich realm. Everything from great products to add to your intimate care repertoire, to techniques to keep yourself physically juicy, to juice up, whether it's children or age or whatever it is. Maybe you haven't had a partner in a while. So the community becomes a really essential part of this. So we'll be meeting weekly in one form or another. We'll have a private online forum. I use WhatsApp because in general, the women don't like to go extra time to Facebook. Most people are trying to stay off social media a bit more. So we create a WhatsApp group for kind of chat. There's an online portal. I have reading lists. I have lots of optional stuff if you really want to go deep. Reading lists, playlists, all kinds of stuff, extra practices, meditations, and then the monthly outline of the theme, the assignments, your personal homework if that's there. How's that sound, Molly? Does that answer your question? Thank you for asking.
Yes, yummy. Yes, thank you.
Awesome, great. And then I'm also, so it starts in mid-June. It basically goes through October. Yep, Lee, I got you. And I will just tell everybody that I over-deliver. So there's going to be some integration sessions in November. I will not drop people, maybe even in December. My last group, we continued once a month, so much lighter. But, you know, we get very connected to each other. We get very invested in each other. We want us all to win, and we want our partners to win. And serving women in this way has just, it's my life. It keeps my own life so magnificent and juicy. And I just can't wait to have this new cohort going in deep like this. So thank you, Molly, for that question and your beautiful presence on this call and in my life. I'm going to unspotlight you. Mwah. I'm going to bring Lee on spotlight because she had a question or a hand raised.
Yeah, not really a question. I just having the chance to actually speak into this space, and Allie, I tell you this as many times as I can. I just think there is really a special magic to the way that you teach, and I don't know how many of the women who are on this particular call also do S Factor or that even Central Embodied Dance. I'm just reminded when I heard Molly's name, because that's how I met Molly, was through that practice, that one of the gifts of doing this work with you has been, for me, your ability to bring the masculine or language, to bring the power of language and what can happen up here and kind of bridge into the body and what can happen on the floor. And so for me, being involved with both the movement practice, the sort of central embodied movement practice, and the women's work, the sacred women's work, where there's practices, but there's also a little bit more speaking to it. It's been quite phenomenal to have someone of your capabilities, intellect, gift with language, comboed up with the embodied, heartful intuition that I feel like I'm growing inside myself even more now. So I just wanted to put that out there for other people who are considering it, because that is not that easy to find.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And, you know, some of you, Lee is obviously my sister. Well, maybe that's not obvious to you, but most people probably think it is. And to be honest, you might think like, well, of course she's saying that. But honestly, we actually had a very competitive, contentious relation. We're identical twins. So we had, I would not in my past life have shared this necessarily with her, nor would she have trusted me to be her teacher. Nor would she maybe have been inspired by me, or thought she wanted to, that her life could be made better by learning and absorbing some of what I have brought into my life. So it's actually, for me, I mean, Lee, knowing our journey and where we have come from, I mean, there's literally no higher regard than to be offered that by you, because, you know, not everyone, like we talk about loving without history. So we have a lot of history here. We have a lot of history here. We have a lot of patterns here. You can feel the generosity, right? And we were not that way. And we were great. We love each other. We're good friends. But I mean, we were everything sisters can be. And this allowing, Lee has opened her life to me with a vulnerability and a growth orientation. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. It's beautiful, and it's so awesome to see what's unfolding in your life. I'm going to take you off the spotlight. I am happy to continue answering questions. I also know we're at the hour, and I know some people have to jump off. So what I would say is, I think I put the website in there. You can book a call with me in there. I think most of you have my email by now. All those Eventbrites came out. I'll type it in here one more time if people want. Oops. Please let this be the beginning or the continuation if you are already on this path. Let this not be the end. This is the last night of our time together, but let this not be the end of the unfolding of yourself as an artist of love, as the creator, the invoker, the inviter, and the receiver of juicy, turned on love. Sandy, such an honor to be with you and walk this path with you. Thank you for sharing all that you do, for offering your relationship as a laboratory for this work. This is how it gets done, with vulnerable truth-telling, with sisterhood, with being willing to lift the covers on our own lives so that we can invite and evolve and grow. And so I really honor you for being here. Sandy, if people wanted to know about your programs or work with you, and I will send Sandy's information out. I'm going to send a final wrap with all the videos. It might take me a day or two because I'm about to dive into an awesome dance weekend with my friends, some of whom are on here. But I will get you a summary email with all the videos and all the information on all my guests, their websites, how to reach out to them. But in case someone wants to jump in right now with you, how could someone find out about what you do?
I think the best, thank you. The best thing to do is go to sandysembler.com/quiz, and you take a polarity quiz. Like, how do you show up in relationship? It's a 2-minute quiz.
Popped it in the chat for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, that's probably the best way to start diving into polarity and the masculine and the feminine essences in that space. You know, I work with embodiment, but it doesn't hold a candle to some of the things that you do from the sensual embodied. So I'm really happy to consider like being a part of your group. I know you choose people, so hopefully I'll be one of those. But thank you, ladies, for being here. I'm happy to wrap this up with you, and thank you. I would love to talk to you. Take the quiz and then just get a little bit deeper. Actually, we'll help you deepen what you're doing with Allie as well. Just to take the quiz, even if you are already enrolled in her course. People love the teaching that I give in that space. So thank you, Allie.
Sandy's also a beautiful teacher, and she has a set of experience I don't have, which involves if kind of addressing your relationship with a religious upbringing is something that's playing a big role. I don't have a lot of that in my background, but I know you help a lot of people in that space, which is a beautiful gift.
Mhm. It's been interesting, and there are a lot of people divorced and coming back together. Not maybe so much for the faith based, but honestly teaching that it's not always them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you all so much. If you take Sandy's contact information is in the chat, my contact information. Again, thank you. Please, however you take this out into your life, into the world, let this just be a deepening and an opening, bringing that open heart, that I love you texture. Maybe you bring it in a beautiful, gentle way to a child. The world needs your love. The world needs our healing and our openness. So I really honor all of you for making the commitment you have just to be here for these days. And I encourage you to continue being a yes to your desire, taking the action that feels incredibly scary or not me. That is the action that changes your life. That is the action that changes your life. Yeah. So with that said, we will send you all off into your evening. Such a pleasure. The recording will go out, and I look forward to hopefully talking with some of you about your actual situation and what you want in your life and what resources might help you in having it. Thank you again, Sandy. Good night, everybody.